Welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be Thanksgiving side dishes. I'm going to share with you 3 side dishes that are perfect for Thanksgiving. These are classics that we do every year in my family. We're making rolls, baked beans, and mashed potatoes. I figured I'd stick with those mainly because that's what I can stomach right now. Start with the rolls because it takes 3 hours because of the rise time. These are yeast rolls. This is a recipe I have not tried before. I've tried my grandma's recipe and it does not work for me. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Works for her almost every time. Of course, when you're using yeast, there's always a possibility that it's not going to work. But I found a recipe. It's supposed to be Texas Roadhouse rolls. All the reviews say it is. All the reviews said it worked great. So, we're going to try. To start this, you need a stand mixer with the dough hook, which is what I've got here. Now, I'm going to add in, maybe, nugget. I've got a packet of fast rise yeast. It says active dry yeast. I don't know if it'll make a difference. I hope it doesn't. It's not expired, so it should work. So I'm dumping that in there, and this is 6 tablespoons of sugar. But to start this, all you need is 1 teaspoon. So I'm measuring out a teaspoon. I'm going to put that in there and set my sugar aside. Then I have some water in the microwave coming up to temp. And temp is, for this recipe, between 105 and 115. I used a candy thermometer just to check the temp of the water, and do not touch the glass because the glass is hotter than anything else, so that'll make it rise. But this is 115 degrees. So I'm going to add in a tablespoon of this water. And this is what it'll look like. You don't have to mix it or anything. You just have to let it set for 5 minutes. Okay, so the yeast woke up. Now it's time to add the rest. So to the yeast mixture, I'm going to add in the rest of the sugar, 6 tablespoons of melted butter, a cup of milk. This is also like 105 to 115 degrees. And a teaspoon of salt. So now that this is combined, I'm just gonna add in 1 egg, and this egg is at room temperature. So I measured out 3.5 cups of flour. The recipe calls for bread flour. I don't have that, but I've done this before with all-purpose, so that's what I'm using. And it doesn't say to add slowly, so I'm just going to kind of dump it all in. And it says mix on medium-high for 3 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to scrape down the sides of the bowl. And this is still really, really sticky, which honestly has me wondering if I did something wrong. But I don't think I did. I followed the recipe, so. I know, sometimes yeast dough just looks like this. So that's kind of what I'm going off of. Oh, okay, so it's not that sticky. Okay, so now I put this on low speed for 4 minutes. Okay, so it's been four minutes, and this doesn't look right to me. It looks too watery. Like, I'm supposed to be able to roll this into balls. I'm not going to be able to roll this into a ball. So, I don't know if this was a fail or what. Out and greased it with non-stick vegetable oil, or cooking spray. Okay. And it's sticking so well to the bowl that it don't want to come out. Ugh. Okay. So if you haven't laughed yet, you can laugh at that. I'm laughing. This is hilarious. And now that it's this thick, I'm wondering if I've done something wrong. But it doesn't say to do this, but I'm going to coat it in the oil, because it's usually what you do. So I'm just going to flip it around a few times. And I'm going to take this kitchen towel I've been using and set it on the back of the stove. The stove's not on, but that's the warmest place in this house. Or up on the refrigerator. Maybe that's what I'll do. So it's up on the refrigerator. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is baked beans. I'm kneeling over here or squatting over here, because if I don't, I'm going to cut off my head. But I already cut up part of the onion. Like, I would use half of an onion if I was doing more than this, but I am doing one small can of beans. Basically, that's all this is pork and beans. And you want all of it in there. I've seen people drain it and rinse it, and I don't do that. I've never seen that. Then ketchup. We're almost out of this, as you can tell. So, and it doesn't hurt to add more water to it. mustard, probably about that much, and barbecue sauce, since I didn't have a ton of ketchup. This is just going to make the flavor a little bit richer, and I might not have to add as much sugar. And then I'm just dumping everything in the pan that I'm going to bake it in. I'm just doing what my grandma did. She didn't add the barbecue sauce, but we've been eating barbecued beans lately, and I liked it, so I figured I would try it. That, and I didn't have a ton of ketchup. Yeah, that needs sugar. Shoot. And I just add brown sugar, and I don't measure this. I will try my best to leave the amounts down below. This is what that's what the baked beans look like. And then I'll put them in the oven when I bake the rolls. So well, probably before I bake the rolls. So they'll bake, and you can add hot dogs to these. That's what my grandma always does. I just don't want hot dogs today, so I'm not adding that. And, or you can add bacon. Okay, so after 2 hours, and the dough has doubled in size. Honestly, I think mine a little bit more than doubled, but that's fine. You just take it and you knock down the dough, which is what I'm doing, and then after you knock it down, you divide it into 12 pieces. Don't be stupid like I was. I wasn't thinking and divided it into 16. And yeah, so it made it a little bit more difficult to roll out 12 equal rolls, but I finally got it. But after you divide it into 12 pieces, you just roll them into balls. And try to do that, and if you do this, try to make sure the seam is on the bottom of the roll. It just makes more sense. Or it makes, I don't know if it really makes a baking difference, but it does make a difference with what it looks like.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. And damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase. So catch me if I fall. Praying that this night's gonna last. You got it all on tap, I'm loving your vibe, always have your back. We like all the same tracks, listen all night in the sheets all black. Said I'm falling fast, don't remember life before you, that's fact. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date. You're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase. So catch me if I fall.
Okay, so at this point, the oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and I'm going to put in the baked beans and let those start baking. They bake for about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how hot the oven is, how much you make, and how not done you want them, but how what is the word I'm looking for? Thick you want them. And while I was letting the baked beans bake, I covered up the rolls, let those rise for 30 minutes. This is after 30 minutes of a rise time. I just placed those in the oven. I should have done it on the top rack, but I didn't. If I would have done it on the top rack, they would have browned a little bit more. And it says 12 to 15 minutes on the recipe, but mine ended up baking for 20. And I probably could have done 25 because the ones in the middle were done, but they weren't quite done all the way. They were still crispy or still chewy. But after these baked for 20 minutes and they came out, I just rubbed the top with butter. And you don't have to use your hands and all this stuff. You could melt the butter down in the microwave and use a brush. But, you know, I wash my hands. This is for family. Who cares? So, yeah. So this is what the rolls look like after they've been brushed with butter, or rubbed with butter in my case. Like I said, they would have been a little bit more brown had I done it on the top shelf or top rack of the oven instead of the bottom rack. Now we can get started on the mashed potatoes. And to do this, I just peeled probably about a pound, maybe 2 pounds of russet potatoes. Were they all russet potatoes? Is that actually the type of potatoes I used? I don't know. These are potatoes out of my garden this year, and I just wanted to use them. And we didn't have a whole bag or enough potatoes from the store to make mashed potatoes. And I wanted to make mashed potatoes because for my family, that's a classic. At every Thanksgiving we have it, so yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm peeling potatoes, washing them off, and then I will cut them into cubes or slices or whatever. Because they're not really cubes. They're more like half moons, honestly.
Doing crazy dreaming. You're the reason why. Hiding by the baby. Losing my mind. Don't try to save me. I feel alive. My world is faster and faster. The tears and the laughter. I'm here for the ride.
Okay, so I don't have a clip to show you what size the potatoes were, but honestly, as long as they are roughly the same size, they will cook all the same. But I start mine in cold water and add a ton of salt. Then I turn on the stove to like a medium to medium high heat to let the water come to a boil. Then I'll turn it down. But honestly, the potatoes are done when they're all fork tender. Okay, well, I was waiting for the potatoes to boil.
Now if only I
finish
can
cooking.
eat
The
it.
baked beans came out of the oven. I baked these for an hour and a half at 350. Usually I bake them at 400. I didn't realize that, and I was looking, and I actually do have my grandma's recipe. I didn't know it was actually written down, so I can't provide you with a real recipe for that. But now I'm going to mash these potatoes. I mash mine by hand. You don't have to if you're making a ton like we do on Thanksgiving. I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend using a stand mixer. But if you're just making like the amount I'm making tonight, it's perfectly fine to mash them by hand. I start with a lot of salt, a lot of pepper, about 4 tablespoons of butter. Mine was soft from where it had been setting out. Doesn't matter, no. And I added about a cup of milk. And when I added that amount of milk, when I started mashing, I went, oh no, I added too much. And I just kept mashing, and it was perfectly fine. And I do want to add that I just taste as I go for salt, pepper, and butter. And if they're too thick, you add more milk. But don't add a ton. Like add maybe a tablespoon at a time if you need more milk. I didn't. But yeah. And I know this is simple, but this is the mashed potato recipe we love and that my family is used to. And if I experiment, most likely my mom and my brother will not eat it. So, yeah, but I figured Thanksgiving classics. So, and after I mashed these and I got them situated, I topped them with more butter. You don't have to do that, but my grandma always did, so that's what I do. So that's what they look like when they are done. I did include a picture of my dinner plate tonight. We just had chicken strips and leftover macaroni and cheese with it because this isn't really Thanksgiving. I was just prepping it to show you so I could show you Thanksgiving side dishes before Thanksgiving. So that's it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you've not done so, hit the red subscribe button down below. All recipes will be linked or be listed down in the description box. Other than that, thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.